Hi, welcome to our production. This is where we do malting, mashing, fermentation, and distillation for our whiskey. The first part of the process is malting, and everything starts in the steep tank, the tank behind me right here. It's basically a big bathtub where we mix water and grains until we reach around 45% moisture. At that point, we'll move it into one of our two malting drums. These malting drums is something we designed from scratch. This is basically a 5-ton batch system. So every time we do a batch of malt, we'll end up with around 5 tons of finished barley malt, rye malt, or whatever it is we're malting. They're designed as a drum because this means we can roll around the whole drum. That will mix up the grains, let them sit in a new position. This is very important during germination, that everything doesn't grow together as one big brick. If that happens, there's no way for us to control the process inside, and we'll lose the material that we're working on. The next part of the process is brewing. This is our mash tun. Here we'll mix around 250 kilos of malt with a little more than 1,000 liters of water. That will give us this wort with so much sugar to make it into 8 to 9% alcohol by volume beer. And that's going to ferment after we cool down the wort in one of these tanks. And I can just show you one of the tanks that's fermenting right now. This was brewed 2 days ago, and you can see it's really alive down here. The yeast that we added to the cooled down wort is now eating up all the sugars, creating alcohol. After 3 days, all sugars will be eaten up, and we have those 8-9% alcohol, but we'll actually let it stay for another couple of days inside the fermentation vessel, just to create some extra fruity flavors for our whiskey. So the final part of the process here in the distillery is distilling the finished beer into whiskey. In this system, we do just a single distillation, and that's possible because we have an extra purifier on the system. The vapors has to go up through some small pipes, and this is a water bath of hot water inside. So the surfaces of these pipes will be around 80, 90 degrees now in the process. And that means that some of the vapors, like water, heavier oils, will have a chance to condense, fall back, and be pushed back into the pot. And some of the vapors, like pure alcohol, a lot of esters, phenols, all the flavorful compounds we want for our whiskey, have a good chance of passing through up to the top pipe, down to the final condenser, and that ends up as this small stream of alcohol running out in the end. After distilling 1,000 liters of wort, we'll end up with something like 120, 130 liters of finished new make that's ready to be filled on the casks. Actually, what's in this pot right now is a bit high in alcohol, so we'll water it down slightly until we reach 63.5% normally to fill on the barrels. This is our barrel warehouse. We designed this building in a way where we get the natural climate here in Denmark inside the building and around the barrels. That's quite important, we think, to get a very honest maturation process where it's the local terroir that's actually working with the barrels. We use a number of different barrels, 3 in majority. One is sherry casks from southern Spain. They've been filled with wine for 20 to 40 years, so we get a lot of fruity character from them. There's bourbon barrels from the US. It's been used once for American bourbon whiskey. That gives us a lot of vanilla, honey-like sweet flavors. And there's new oak casks for our spelled rye whiskey. It works really well with the peppery, spicy new make from rye. And those give us a lot of tannins, a lot of spicy, oaky character, but also a lot of sweetness for the spelled rye whiskey. And there's a lot of other experiments here as well. Like every single cask has a unique history, and we'll take samples now and then from all casks in here to make sure that the maturation is happening as we want it to. Every cask has to stay for 3 years at least, but it could be 4 or 5 or 10 or 15. You never know until you taste the cask and find out when it hits that perfect balance.